All right, let's get it. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. Really excited for today's show. So ESPN did roster projections for every team in the National Football League, and they had their beat writers do it. So in this instance, it's Nick Wagoner of ESPN who covers the 49ers, taking a look at the roster projections. So with that, we're going to take a look at some of the surprise cuts that took place with training camp starting a little less than 3 weeks from now. Obviously, there are some star-studded players on this roster. They're safe. They're not on the roster bubble. As to who might be on the roster bubble, we're about to unpack all of that coming up over the next couple of minutes. But first, are you excited for the return of Niners football? We're really in the dead period of the offseason. Not a lot to talk about outside of some rumors and breaking news. So if you're excited for the return of San Francisco 49ers football, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. So Nick Wagoner starts off with the quarterback position, and that's where we start off as well. He has Trey Lance making the team as well as Nate Sudfeld. What's notable here, no Jimmy Garoppolo making the roster, and obviously Jimmy Garoppolo trade rumors continue to simmer. They continue to hover around this football team, and here's what Wagoner had to say about Jimmy G. Is there a chance the Niners keep Jimmy Garoppolo around this season? Sure, but it's unlikely unless it's at a significantly reduced price. The 49ers appear ready to hand the reins to Trey Lance and see where it takes them. Sudfeld is a veteran backup, and rookie Brock Purdy is ticketed for the practice squad. Obviously, with Baker Mayfield being dealt to the Carolina Panthers, that takes one of the possible Jimmy G suitors out of the market. Now, really what's left is the Cleveland Browns. From quarterback to running back, a couple of them making the roster, a few to be precise. Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Juszczyk obviously as the fullback, but we're going to put him in the running back category for this exercise. Ty Davis Price, Jeff Wilson, and Trey Sermon. Who does that leave on the outside looking in? A guy who I actually thought flashed in the preseason last year and got some significant snaps throughout the regular season in JaMycal Hasty. So what ESPN said about the running back group with Anthony Lynn helping to lead the charge there on the coaching staff, Bobby Turner stepping away this year because of health reasons. Hopefully he comes back in 2023. Mitchell and Price, the top two options. That's the prediction from ESPN. Wilson, Sermon, Hasty competing for the final spots on this roster. And that's really how it's going to play out. Even though Trey Sermon was drafted in the 3rd round last year, he is not a safe bet to make this roster. Has to play a lot better in preseason as well as training camp for his roster spot to be safe. Grade the San Francisco 49ers roster in the National Football League. 32 teams in the NFL. Where do you think the Niners are? I saw this prediction and this ranking the other day. I forget from which publication, but they had the Niners roster at 17th. That's disrespectful. Hopefully you guys are smarter than that. Let me know. Scale it from 1 to 32. To wide receiver now. This is really an intriguing positional battle when you look at some of the final spots and how many spots the 49ers are going to give to the wideout spot. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Danny Gray, and Ray McLeod making the team. That's 5 wide receivers. Sometimes teams on opening day, they carry 6 on the 53-man. So here's what ESPN had to say about this specific position group. Samuel's status, the biggest question here, of course. The Niners remain hopeful they can sign him to a lucrative contract, but that remains to be seen. Regardless, they have no intention of trading Deebo. San Francisco has traditionally kept 6 here, but this simply isn't a deep group teaming with options. These 5 are locks barring injury, which means players such as Malik Turner and Marcus Johnson will have to do enough to not only beat out the other wide receivers, but convince the Niners to keep 6. So when it comes to Malik Turner, I kind of said this at the time, I like the signing as one of those additions on the peripheries, on the outskirts of this roster. And for me, Turner's special teams ability in coverage could allow him to crack this roster. I think Ray McLeod, obviously, a safe bet to make it because he is going to be the punt returner and the kick returner on this squad. He was one of the best at those 2 spots last year among all returners in the NFL. But then you're looking at some of the other guys. If it's down to that 6th spot and they hold 6, I think Malik Turner is going to grab it. If they hold 5, maybe he does get cut. To tight ends now. Really not much to talk about. George Kittle, Charlie Warner, Ross Dwelley. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and I think these are the 3 tight ends who do crack the roster. As for the offensive line, things can get interesting here for a couple of reasons. Who is going to start at left guard, center, right guard? Is Mike McGlinchey going to be able to come back off that torn quad and start at right tackle? And then are the rookies going to be able to make it? ESPN thinks a couple of them will. So Trent Williams, safe bet, obviously. 99 rating in Madden. You love to see it. Most dominant player in the league last year, according to Pro Football Focus. Then after that, Aaron Banks. I think he's going to start at left guard. Jake Brendel, probably the starting center, but Daniel Brunskill will be competing with him for that. And then if Brunskill starts at center, that opens up an opportunity for somebody to start at right guard, Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. Then this is where things start to get somewhat intriguing, and this is where the positional battles certainly are set to take place. Spencer Burford making the roster, and as well as Zakel, who is also drafted this year too. So the offensive line will be interesting. Brendel, Brunskill in the mix there at center. Donovan West, the undrafted free agent out of Arizona State, could also crack the team and maybe upset the coaching staff and start at center as well. But also, ESPN throwing out the possibility of maybe signing J.C. Tretter, who over the last couple of years with the Cleveland Browns, one of the top 10 centers in the NFL when you look at the Pro Football Focus numbers. If you are subscribed to the channel, north of 60,000 subs, I want you to type 49 for the 49ers in the comment section right now. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so right now. Like I said, training camp a little less than 3 weeks away. We're really going to start to ramp up our coverage. Here's what we do here on the channel for those of you who don't know or aren't subscribed. Latest news and rumors, especially on the breaking news front, year-round coverage, videos basically every single day, live shows and watch parties every single week, and then when the regular season comes around, as well as the preseason, watch parties for every single Niners game. We have more than 60,000 subs, and also turn on your notifications. Therefore, when we do go live, when we do push out a video, when we have a watch party, you will be notified. How do you do it? You go to the settings app, scroll down, tap YouTube, tap notifications, and turn on allow notifications. Therefore, you'll be able to stay in the know with all things Niners year-round from yours truly right here on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. We shift over to the defensive side of the football. Defensive line, one of the most stacked positional groups in the NFL in the trenches here. Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Samson Ebukam, Drake Jackson, safe bets to make the team. I think Kamoko Toure as well. So too is Jordan Willis and Charles Omenihu. It comes down to really the defensive tackle spot. Hassan Ridgeway, Kevin Givens. ESPN has those 2 guys making the team. Surprise cuts here. No Kerry Hyder in his reunion with San Francisco. No Maurice Hurst, who played really well in the preseason, then was really hampered throughout the regular season with injuries and basically played sparingly. Hyder had a great year a couple of years ago with San Francisco, got the bag in free agency, wasn't good for the Seattle Seahawks, now he's back. ESPN doesn't have him making the roster. I disagree with that sentiment. Do the Niners have the best D-line in the NFL? Let your voices be heard here, Empire. Y for yes, N for no. They do, in my opinion, have one of the best. You voice your opinion on the subject matter right now. I also think the Niners have one of the best linebacking cores in the NFL. Publications like Pro Football Focus ranking them number 1, led by All-Pro Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, an exceptional player. Azeez Al-Shire was fantastic last year. Just found himself in the right position at the right time. And the other 2 linebackers making the squad. Oren Burks, because of his special teams usage, really good on the special teams unit is Oren Burks. That's what he did, and that's how he carved out a role with the Green Bay Packers. And a UDFA making the team out of UNC, Jeremiah Gemmel. The surprise cut here, Demetrius Flanagan-Fulls. So really it's going to be Jeremiah, it's going to be Demetrius. 2 legendary names right there. It sounds like a Roman Empire type of duel. They're going to be competing probably for that last linebacker spot. Another one of those training camp battles you have to keep your eyes peeled out for. 49ers cornerbacks. It's a position group that is much better going into the year this year and deeper as compared to 2021. Charvarius Ward is your number 1 cornerback. Emmanuel Mosley can play outside or play in the slot. Ambry Thomas played good ball the last month of the season. That translated into the playoffs outside of the Packers game that he missed. And then the last 3 spots here. Samuel Womack, the draft pick, Jason Verrett coming off the torn ACL, and Diamador Lenore firmly entrenched on the roster bubble. The cuts at cornerback in what is going to be another competitive duel here throughout training camp. Dontae Johnson not making the squad. What's interesting, throughout the offseason, he's getting some reps at safety. Darqueze Dennard credited the Niners with bringing his love for football back. That would be a cool story if he cracks the team. And then the other rookie cornerback who was drafted in the 6th round out of Penn State, 4.3 speed, long arms, Tariq Castro Fields, does not make the projection. If he doesn't, that will be a practice squad candidate. Are you excited to watch Charvarius Ward? It's been a little while since the Niners had a number one bona fide cornerback, and you look at some of the analytics, and we've talked about the analytical numbers from Ward last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was really good. So if you're pumped up to watch him, type cha-cha. Yeah, cha-cha, Charvarius Ward. Anytime he intercepts a ball in the 2022 season during our watch parties, I might have to do the cha-cha. Do it with me right now. Safeties, and then we'll get to the special teams unit. Jimmy Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Tarvarius Moore, and George Odom. They are your 4 safeties here. We'll see how many San Francisco elects to keep on this roster. It's going to be a big decision, no question about it. ESPN on the safety spot here. Doesn't seem to be much drama within this group, though Moore's ability to return from his Achilles injury will shape how much this plays out. Ward is the starting free safety, we know that. The other 3 should battle to start opposite of him, though Hufanga seems to have an early leg up. Could an undrafted rookie, such as Leon O'Neal Jr. out of Texas A&M, force the Niners to keep a 5th safety? It's a possibility and would probably come down to special teams. So, Leon O'Neal, it's a pretty good story. Maybe he could be a practice squad candidate. We know he's a little bit slow going vertical and sideline to sideline. We know that Jimmy Ward, too, is going to be the number 1 starting safety. And with Jaquiski Tartt signing with the Eagles on that 1-year deal back a couple weeks ago, he's out of the equation. I think it's Talanoa Hufanga's job to lose. Grade ESPN's roster projection for me. A, B, C, D, or F, you let me know down in the comment section. I thought they did a pretty good job. As for the specialists on this team, it's going to be Tabor Pepper at the long snapper, Robbie Gould as the place kicker, and Mitch Wishnowsky at punter. And like I said earlier, the roster spot for special teams guys, Ray McCloud will be under the wide receiver category. There aren't additional roster spots on the 53 for kick returner, punt returner. I've got that question a couple of times. Ray McCloud going to make the team as a wide receiver. He will be your punt and kick returner with Brandon Ayuk also in the mix. So once more, before we get out of here, subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/49ers TV, and always faithful. I love you, and thank you for watching today's show.